Hello everyone, welcome to the Film Recaps, and today I'm going to explain a science fiction fantasy film called Full Metal Alchemist. Be ready for some spoilers ahead. Somewhere far from the city, a mother is putting up the blankets for her children. An assortment of items are combined together in the transmutation circle by two brothers, and they rush to their mother, proudly displaying their achievements. She embraces them warmly, expressing her love, but after the boys leave to play, she suddenly collapses and dies from an unknown illness. Not willing to lose their mother forever, the brothers plan to transmute the woman into existence by combining every single element that makes up the human body. They put the materials in the center of the alchemy circle and begins performing the ritual. A large amount of energy begins gathering inside the house, and the brothers realize that something is very wrong. The power of the ritual tears the house apart, and one by one they are lifted into the air, screaming each other's names in terror. Many years later, in the city of Riol, the older brother Edward is in pursuit of a priest wielding a mysterious red stone. This powerful gem allows the priest to perform alchemy without the need for transmutation circles. Edward is forced to dodge as towering stone pillars rise in his path. The priest then summons monstrous creatures from the surrounding stones and orders them to attack. However, Edward swiftly conjures a spear and begins taking down the monsters one by one. Suddenly, person in full armor rushes in and kills the creatures using his bare hands as he throws the monsters around and breaks them into pieces. In the chaos, his helmet is knocked off, revealing that the armor is completely hollow inside. Meanwhile, Edward, after defeating the remaining monsters, is revealed to have prosthetic limbs, recognized as the Full Metal Alchemist. Edward chased the priest into the crowded streets, and he delivers a powerful punch with his prosthetic arm, knocking the red stone from the man's grasp. Just then, Colonel Mustang and his military unit arrive and apprehends both of them in order to control the situation immediately. Edward shouts at the colonel to give him the Philosopher's Stone, but Mustang sets the object on fire, and as it melts away, it reveals that it's nothing more than a fake. He feels disheartened after searching for the stone for so long, but the suit of armor tries to comfort him, revealing that he is actually Alphonse, his younger brother. Meanwhile, the priest seizes the opportunity to escape from the soldiers, and Colonel takes Edward back to the headquarters, leaving Alphonse behind to clean up the mess. Unbeknownst to everyone, three mysterious figures are watching them, clearly showing great interest in the recent fight. At the military headquarters, Mustang is trying to convince Edward that the real Philosopher's Stone doesn't exist, but Edward refuses to accept this, arguing that the object he encountered displayed immense power. Mustang counters, claiming the stone was merely an amplifier, not a tool for human transmutation, which is what Edward desires most to restore his brother's body and his own lost limbs. Their argument is interrupted when Captain Hughes arrives with General Hakuro. The senior officer greets Edward warmly, having heard much about the Full Metal Alchemist, and expresses a desire to meet Alphonse. After the meeting, Captain Hughes walks with Edward, advising him to listen to Mustang. He also reveals that he was sent by Central Command to conduct an inspection due to some suspicious activities at the military base. Their conversation is interrupted by Edward's childhood friend Winry, who rushes to check his prosthetic arm, complaining about its damage and how she'll need to fix it again. Meanwhile, the priest meets with the three mysterious figures, revealing that they are working together. He blames his failure on the fake stone he received, but the woman whose name is Lust ridicules him for believing that there's actually a real Philosopher's Stone. Her accomplice Envy transforms into the priest while Lust extends her claws and kills the priest instantly. A large man known as Glutton opens his mouth and swallows the priest's body whole. Later that night, Edward dreams of his past when he first attempted to transmute his mother using alchemy. In his dream, he finds himself before the Gate of Truth, a dimension where all knowledge in the universe resides. He encounters another entity that claims to be God and opens the gate for him, causing countless hands to reach out and pull him inside. He begins seeing the truth of the universe and eventually his mother from far away as he desperately tries to reach out for her. Suddenly, he is pulled back into the white void and now possesses vast knowledge of alchemy, including the secrets of human transmutation. However, he begins noticing one of his legs disappearing as it transfers onto the mysterious deity, who tells him that this is part of the equivalent exchange. He wakes up in the living room missing one leg and notices that his brother Alphonse was taken as well. He looks over at the alchemy circle and is shocked to seize the monstrosity that he created, which resembles nothing close to his mother. He knocks over the suit of armor in the living room and demands to have his brother back as he begins to transmute once more. However, the deity calls the man a fool for coming back here as it slowly takes possession of his arm as well. He suddenly wakes up sweating profusely, only to find his brother watching over him, revealing that he's been having the same dream for a long time. The next day, Colonel Mustang, following the general's order, takes the brothers to meet an alchemist named Tucker, who the general believes may be able to aid Edward in his search for the Philosopher's Stone. They arrive at the mansion and meets the scientist along with the daughter Nina and their dog Alexander. Apparently, Tucker is under extreme stress right now due to the upcoming examination by the military, which will determine his usefulness to the organization. He shows Edward the chimeras he has created by fusing different animals together. Tucker explains that he was able to make a talking chimera 2 years ago, which gave him the position as a state alchemist, but the creature only spoke 3 words before eventually dying. As they continue talking, Edward reveals that he sacrificed his own arm to bind his brother's soul to the armor, but because of that, Alphonse lost his memories about what happened during the human transmutation, where he also looked into the gate of truth. Hearing this, Tucker offers to help, claiming that he may be able to recover Alphonse's lost memories, and perhaps even find a way to restore their original bodies. Edward and Winry leave Alphonse behind with Tucker and arrive at the train station after receiving a lead about a scientist named Dr. Marco, who may know more about the Philosopher's Stone. They head to the town where the doctor was last seen, and the girl spots a man who resembles the person they're looking for, immediately rushing off the train. The two follows the trail to a hospital and enter the building only to be shot at by the doctor, who thinks they are from the military. Edward reacts quickly, disabling the gun before anyone got hurt, and knocks the man unconscious. After Marco wakes up, Edward asks him to tell the truth about what he knows regarding the Philosopher's Stone, but the doctor refuses to help, saying it is for his own good. Suddenly, the doctor senses something is wrong and shoots behind them, revealing that Lust has been spying on them. She continues advancing towards the doctor as he shoots again, but her wounds heal almost instantly, and she pins the man to the wall. Edward attempts to help but is thrown against the wall along with the girl. She then stabs Marco through the heart and vanishes. Edward rushes toward him in an attempt to save him, but before he dies, Marco reveals that the truth about the stone's origins can be found in Laboratory 5. He immediately rushes to board the train, returning to Tucker's house the next day, only to find that no one is in the building. He eventually locates the alchemist on the 2nd floor, where the man shows him his latest creation, a chimera that's capable of speaking. Edward examines the creature closely as it begins speaking, and he uncovers the horrifying truth about its origins. Tucker created the chimera using his own daughter and their dog. It is also revealed that his first talking chimera was the result of experiments on his wife, who disappeared around the same time. Edward charges at Tucker, punching him repeatedly in anger. However, Alphonse appears just in time and stops his brother from killing Tucker. Colonel Mustang arrives with his soldiers, confiscates everything in the house as evidence, and arrests Tucker for conducting human experimentation. Edward laments in the rain, with his brother feeling extremely powerless. He questions how he can restore their bodies when he couldn't even save a little girl's life. He spends the next 3 days in the library, assisted by Captain Hughes and Lieutenant Ross, searching for the location of Laboratory 5, but they are unable to find any clues. Their research is abruptly interrupted when the general enters and claims to know the location they seek. Hakuro explains that Laboratory 5 is a nickname given to the cannery in the military, which is no longer operational. Without hesitation, Edward rushes out toward the facility before the captain can stop him. After arriving at the building quickly, they found nothing unusual about the location. Meanwhile, Captain Hughes notices a peculiar pattern on the map. Laboratories 1 through 4 form what appears to be a massive transmutation circle encompassing the entire city. He figures out the location of Final Laboratory by completing the geometry, and realizes that it's located in the prisoner of war camp. Suddenly, he hears someone behind him and slowly turns around, only to see that Lust has made it inside the military building. He immediately recognizes her tattoos on the chest, indicating that she's a homunculus, meaning that she was artificially created using alchemy. Lust plans to kill the captain for knowing too much, but he narrowly survives her attack, escaping the room just in time. Hughes rushes to call the colonel on the payphone to tell him about the secrets of the military, but feels a presence approaching from behind and turns around only to see that Mustang is pointing a gun towards him. He tries to fight back, but the colonel transforms into his wife, shocking the captain, and the assassin immediately shoots him. Then it turns back into Mustang and walks away after seeing the murder witnesses. Fortunately, Hughes was able to tell the real colonel through the phone about the location of Laboratory 5 before finally passing away. At the same time, Edward leaves the cannery with the group only to be arrested by the military and detained in a room where he also finds Lieutenant Hawkeye. She informs him that the military is hunting down the colonel after witnesses saw him murdering the captain, and they are being held due to their association with him. Meanwhile, Tucker has somehow managed to escape. However, Edward and Hawkeye quickly outwit the guards, luring them into the room and knocking them unconscious before making their escape. Hawkeye reveals that Mustang has told her about Laboratory 5 and is heading there right now by himself. Edward enters the building with Hawkeye and sees that the colonel is confronting the military soldiers and Lieutenant Ross. Mustang snaps his fingers, igniting Ross in flames while everyone watches in shock as she burns. He tells them to calm down as the burnt body begins moving again, eventually recovering back without any damage. It turns out that Ross was actually envy in disguise, and its accomplice's lust appears alongside gluttony. She tells Gluttony to take care of the soldiers, and the big man begins transforming into a gigantic mouth, chasing away the military as they shoot in fear. She then extends her claws, piercing the colonel straight through the stomach before leaving the man to die. Edward pursues her and eventually arrives in a room containing a massive transmutation circle. He spots Tucker aiming a gun at him while holding Alphonse and Winry hostage, threatening to kill them if Edward makes a move. Tucker then takes out a philosopher's stone and tells that the military has been secretly producing them using prisoners in this facility. In fact, Dr. Marco and his team have created thousands of these stones by sacrificing human lives. He tells Edward that if he truly wishes to restore his brother's body, it will require the sacrifice of others. Before he could say more, Lust suddenly stabs him from behind and silences him before he can reveal any more secrets. Suddenly, General Hakuro arrives, revealing that he has been working with Lust for a long time. However, he ultimately betrays Lust by attempting to use the stones to create an army of artificial humans, aiming to seize control of the country. He starts injecting all the stones into the lifeless bodies hanging from the ceiling, and the creatures begin to revive one by one before falling to the ground. Believing he has created the ultimate army, the general eagerly walks toward the monsters, but they suddenly attack him all at once, devours him apart alive. Mustang, furious, retaliates by setting the creatures on fire, discovering that they can be killed by destroying their heads. He orders the lieutenant to gather the soldiers and aim for the creatures' heads while he chases after the homunculi. Lieutenant Hawkeye gathers an army of soldiers to kill the monsters that are coming this way. Meanwhile, Alphonse starts regaining his ability to move with Edward, protecting both of them by fighting off the monsters. He apologizes for being taken hostage as he hides Winry inside his armor, but Edward reassures him, glad that no one was harmed. Just then, the soldiers begin firing at the creatures, taking them down one by one after identifying their weakness. Elsewhere, Mustang catches up with the enemies and sets Envy on fire, but soon falls down as he struggles from the pain of the previous wounds. Lust laughs at his suffering, claiming to be immortal, and shows him the Philosopher's Stone that's within her, which grants her extraordinary healing powers. She attacks Mustang with her claws, but Edward intercepts and manages to shield them behind a stone wall he creates. Edward realizes that Lust is bragging about her powers to buy time for her comrade, noticing that Envy is no longer regenerating like before. Mustang takes the opportunity to set Envy on fire again, and this time the homunculus dies permanently as he gets turned into dust. Lust then attacks Edward by pinning him to the floor, but a stone wall rises between them, shattering her claws. It turns out that Alphonse, after recovering his memory from the Gate of Truth, can also use alchemy without a transmutation circle. Seeing Lust weakened, Mustang relentlessly sets her on fire, grabs the Philosopher's Stone from her chest, and finally kills her by turning her into dust. Gluttony, seeing that all his comrades have perished, is left with no choice but to hide from the soldiers as he mourns their loss. Mustang gives the Philosopher's Stone to Edward so that he may finally make his brother human. He strikes his palms and sees the Gate of Truth once again. He turns around and sees Alphonse's body, no longer the boy he once was. The deity approaches Edward, offering a trade, but at the last moment he refuses, unwilling to sacrifice human lives for his own desires. He promises to come back for his brother as he shouts Alphonse's name. He returns to his reality and apologizes to his brother, but Alphonse forgives him, as he also rejects using the stone given its origins. They all stare into the distance as the sun finally rises once more. Edward looks at his brother as they sit inside the train, promising to find a better way to bring back their bodies as they continue to venture forth into their futures. What do you guys think about this movie? Let me know in the comments below. And if you liked the video, please hit the like and subscribe to the channel for more content.